Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the crypto Starship. Its mission, to explore new technologies, to seek out new life in the crypto universe, to boldly go where no blockchain has gone before.
Hey guys, this is Captain Eric.
Captain Derek.
And Lieutenant Blue.
How's it going today, Captain Derek?
It is going fantastic. I have been enjoying the culinary delights that are Saigon City. Yeah, life is good.
Amazing. That's great. So the food is back. You're fully in swing in Saigon. No more holidays taking over. And I can see your energy is back a little bit.
Yeah. And people are
You
slowly
seem like a new person.
trickling back into Saigon, and I'm getting to meet some very interesting people who are working on different ICO projects, different blockchain projects. So I'm enjoying the experience. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, and you're about a month away from the blockchain conference there, right?
No, I'm maybe about 2 weeks away from Blockchain Week.
Oh,
wow, that's great. So there'll definitely be a lot of people around in a couple weeks.
Pretty soon.
I'm excited to hear all about it in all your interviews at the Blockchain Week as we go through those and get caught up during that week. I'm super excited for it.
I'm excited as well.
Lieutenant Plu, how's it going over here in Denver, Colorado?
Denver, Colorado. I'm doing great. Caught up on a little bit of sleep, I feel like. Trying to get back into the swing of things here. Just working hard and excited to be here.
That's great. I've just been setting up the apartment. So one of our closest friends, Billy, flew into Denver this week. So I gave him a screwdriver and he's been setting up all the furniture while I basically do nothing. So
Tough life.
you stay at my house for free, you set up the furniture.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's been good. It's been good so far. So really excited. I think getting a lot of stuff moving in the crypto space and meeting with a lot of different founders, getting ready for some interviews on this side as well. And staying connected with some of the guys we've already interviewed, like Ali from B-Token, making sure we're staying up to date with them and helping them out with their project and connecting with other founders here in Denver. Actually, Denver is a huge crypto space, has, I think, the 5th or 6th biggest concentration of people in the crypto space, which is great. So you have a lot of talent here and more companies, Shapeshift, Salt, and many more that are popping up in Denver. So that's absolutely outstanding to be out here during this time.
Exciting.
Yeah, super exciting. So Captain Derek, do you want to give a quick overview of what we're going to be going into today on the ride into the crypto universe?
Yes. So our pilot is going to be piloting us through the process of how to buy and sell crypto. So if you're new to the space and you want to figure out, how do I actually get some of this stuff? And once I have some of this stuff, how do I use it to get other tokens? And how do I then sell the tokens that I have? Where do I go to do this? And what is the actual process like? That's what we're going to be talking about today.
I will say that Lieutenant Plu may not really be piloting that well today. If anything, he'll be crashing into the sides of asteroids and probably completely confused on what's going on. So maybe he'll be asking more questions than piloting anything.
Yeah.
I think you might have to take over Captain Derek today and relieve Lieutenant Plu of his duties.
Okay.
At least for the majority of this episode.
Does that mean I can drink?
You are free to drink, my friend. You are free to drink. You should grab one of our crypto beers in the back. It's in the fridge. I know the cafe is full of them. You should just go out and hang out with all the privates today.
So,
yeah, I think it's extremely important.
So, Lieutenant, have you actually bought or sold any crypto so far?
No, definitely taking the healthy skeptic. Not that I'm paranoid of the crypto world. Obviously, I want to learn more about it. And before I make my initial investment here or buy in, I kind of how we're going through this beginner podcast series and taking a look at the inner workings. I want to wait till we're done here so I get a full view of what I need to do. And
you have all the information you need. You have all the information you need to cover the basis. And then you're fully ready to whip out the credit card
and spend all your money
and transfer all your fiat into crypto, take out a mortgage, get a couple extra car loans and shove it all into crypto.
Perfect.
I'm going to sign up for school, get a bunch of more student loans and just dump all the money into crypto.
And this is where we say this is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice. Do not take any of this seriously. Awesome. Should we lift off into the crypto universe, Lieutenant Plu? Actually, Captain Derek, can you please get us ready to lift off into the crypto universe?
All right. Let's get going.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Welcome to the crypto universe. We are headed towards Coinbase. The planet of Coinbase is extremely popular. It has one of the biggest GDPs in the crypto space, period. And some of the most interesting legal battles and government regulation interference out of everyone and anyone that we know.
This side of the Milky Way.
This side of the Milky Way is extremely powerful. You should not mess with them. They might make it almost impossible for you to get your funds if you do anything stupid.
Or even if you don't do anything, they might still make it really hard for you to get your funds.
Captain Derek,
Talk about security.
Captain Derek, do you want to introduce us to this part of the solar system, of this part of the universe, and where we're traveling today, with the different planets that we're going to be visiting, and how these planets are allowing us to transfer the currency from one to the other?
Yeah, so we're going to start with talking about Coinbase and what's called on-ramps in general. So on-ramps are where you can take your money from US dollar, euro, whatever currency you currently have, and then bring that into the cryptocurrency world. So transfer your dollars, euros, probably just dollars and euros, because I don't know where you can buy crypto in Japan or China or any non-English focused country. So
we're just going to focus on
Coinbase
English-focused
mostly.
countries. Yeah.
So how do you actually take your money and turn it into crypto? And generally, most people use Coinbase. There's a few other options. Once you
Amazon?
Unfortunately, not yet.
Not
Although
yet.
there's some funny stuff you can
No.
do with. You can actually buy stuff in Amazon in exchange for Bitcoin. There's a few websites that let you do that. Anyway,
Oh.
Interesting.
that's a separate topic.
Well, that's a topic
For another day, indeed.
So I shouldn't buy that shiny Bitcoin I saw on Amazon.
No, with the ledger that's hacked and ready to take all your Bitcoin. So yeah, you shouldn't do either of those things. As we land back on Coinbase.
Right. So we'll talk about how you actually get your money into crypto. And then once you have your money in crypto, how do you actually buy all these different tokens that you've probably started to hear about? So on Coinbase, you can only buy Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. Was there a fourth one?
and Bitcoin Cash.
Bitcoin
So
Cash.
those are the only ones that you can buy right now on Coinbase. But there's 1,400 cryptocurrencies out there. And if you want to buy more than just those 4, how do you go ahead and do that? So that's what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, and exactly. And that 1,400 is quickly expanding every day. That number changes basically every day now. And there's multiple exchanges that cover those cryptocurrencies. So you're not going to find all the cryptocurrencies on one exchanges. There's multiple exchanges that you're going to have to sign up to if you want to get involved with these different currencies, or utility tokens, as most people call them. And in order to do that, you're going to need to jump on top of some of these other exchanges that will allow you to do those transitions from Bitcoin and Ethereum to these other currencies themselves. And a couple of those different exchanges we'll go into, just off the top of my head. Some that are extremely popular are Bittrex and Binance, are probably 2 of the biggest in the world. And then there's others that we'll go into, like Ether Delta, that are more for newer currencies that are attached to Ethereum. And Derek, do you have any other exchanges that you look at on a regular basis that we're going to jump into today?
Probably IDEX. I think I actually use IDEX more than anything else now.
Awesome. And is there a reason behind that?
Yes, it's a decentralized exchange similar to Ether Delta, but we can get into that more, I think, when we get to that part.
Okay, great. So with all of that and the different exchanges that ultimately you should be signing on for, there is a transition from the on-ramp that Captain Derek went into. So moving your fiat into cryptocurrency and then moving from Coinbase or GDAX to these other exchanges. Now, these other exchanges don't allow you, as of yet, some may in the future, to onboard USD or fiat into cryptocurrency. So that's why you need Coinbase, or in the future, Robinhood, or a couple others, in order to transition from fiat to cryptocurrency. But once you do that, you need to move that cryptocurrency to another exchange like Binance or Bittrex. And
Right.
I'm going to let Captain Derek explain the exact process in detail. But this...
Okay, so you've got dollars. Let's say you have $1,000. and you want to turn that into an Ether. What's the best way to do that? So what most people do is they buy through Coinbase, which has a very simple interface, very easy to use. It doesn't feel like an exchange. If you go on an exchange, you'll see a lot of graphs and charts and order books and things that look very complicated. If you go in Coinbase, it feels like ordering off of Amazon. You order yourself an Ethereum and it shows up in your account. Very simple, very easy to use. There's a few other options as well that you can use. If you want to buy large amounts, Gemini has the best reputation for that. So typically, if you're spending more than, say, $10,000 at a time, then probably using Gemini might be a better bet because large amounts of money often get flagged by Coinbase and people have issues with wiring large amounts of money. Mm-hmm. And if you want to do it in a more anonymous way, you can also buy it in person or offline using localbitcoins.com.
Yep.
Are there any other on-ramps that you think we should
cover?
I
mean, Robinhood in the future, but that's not completely ready yet. And before all of it, 4 or 5 years ago, they used to have an auction house right in Wall Street where you could come and buy Bitcoin for cash. But in 2012 or 2013, when it ended up shutting down, it wasn't as popular back then. So it didn't have as big a financial benefit. So that used to be an on-ramp. But everything that Captain Derek went on into now is the main area. There's also, if you want to YouTube this, I'm not going to explain the entire process, but there is a way of buying through GDAX as well, which is Coinbase's basically sister company. They bought GDAX, the exchange, and you can move fiat into cryptocurrency through that as well for a different fee arrangement. So I would definitely use to YouTube that. It's a very interesting way. It's a cheaper way of doing it, a little more difficult. So
all of these ways, the on-ramps, there is a small fee associated, I assume.
For most of them, yes.
Or a big fee.
Or a big fee. Yeah.
Yeah. Coinbase is quite expensive, actually, especially if you were buying with credit card. You were paying 2.5% credit card fee plus 4% Coinbase fee. And then Coinbase also marks up the token another 5 to 8% probably. Yep. So you could be paying 10% on your fees if you're buying through Coinbase.
So I would look up the GDAX approach. Buying offline is an interesting approach as well. And I know Robinhood's coming out with 0 fee transactions in the future. It's still not ready yet.
I thought I saw something that maybe it's launched today or it's up today.
Yeah, Robinhood just launched, but they're not actually letting you withdraw any of the money.
Oh.
And from what I understand, they're not actually setting up their own exchange right now either. They're only letting you buy and trade against the price, and they're executing the trade on other people's exchanges on your behalf.
Exactly.
So it's not
up to speed yet.
It's not really
okay. So it's all right.
Right.
It's gonna be a while, and there's still like 1 million person waiting list right now. So there's not a lot of people that have made it into the platform yet. So it's going to be a few more months before we see the true position of Robinhood.
Just definitely my favorite Disney movie growing up was Robin Hood.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in this, and I want to kind of follow where it goes.
So one thing I find incredible is they've got over 1% of the U.S. population on their platform now. 4 million customers.
Yeah,
that's the amount of military members there are. A little over 1%.
That's the Robinhood application. For those who don't know, you can sign up for the regular fiat stock trading platform, and I definitely would check it out. It's a great platform. And if you have that platform and you're using it, it'll be basically the same for cryptocurrency over time. So you'll have an understanding of that as well. So it's definitely worth checking in, but it's not mainstream yet.
Awesome. Any questions, Lieutenant Plu, about how to get dollars into cryptocurrencies?
No questions. The local thing. Do you just show up and meet with somebody and they say, "Oh, here's some"?
Yeah, it's basically you get a briefcase that's silver, you get a whole bunch of 100s, you wrap them in paper so you have $10,000 wads, you make sure you have about 10, 20, 100 of those in a briefcase. You walk up to a place and
slip some cocaine in there.
Slip some cocaine in there, and then they open up their wallet, they send you Bitcoin, you hand them the case. You make sure you're wearing a mask so nobody sees you, and then you end up going separate ways, and that's the process.
Okay. So sounds like my typical Friday night.
Yeah, exactly. It's my typical Friday night.
Exactly.
So it's something along those lines. You basically find someone that wants to sell Bitcoin for cash in person. You meet with that person, you make a deal, you exchange cash they send you the Bitcoin or the Ethereum or whatever it is, and it's all done offline.
Cool.
So that's another option as well. And I know people have meetups for that you can find.
Like at BitConnect? Should I?
Like BitConnect.
I just saw something. They're getting sued again.
Getting sued
there's
again.
There's another lawsuit going against them.
That's crazy.
What's up, BitConnect?
What's up?
Awesome. So no question. So you can either through Coinbase, just to go over this one more time, Lieutenant Plu, you can either buy directly through a credit card, which has the highest fees. You can transition money from your bank account into Coinbase directly, and they'll exchange that for whatever you want of the 4 currencies you want. I believe there's a wire option as well if you wanted to. I have not explored that area, but Coinbase has one of the highest fees. So looking at other options like GDAX or in person is an interesting option. If you're buying a little bit and you're just dabbling, Coinbase is probably the easiest way to get started. But over time, if you're getting more heavily involved, you have to look at other options.
Awesome.
Great. Captain Derek, let's jump into, now that we have our cryptocurrency on Coinbase or GDAX or eventually Robinhood or any of the other platforms we discussed, how do we move that into another exchange like Binance or Bittrex and move that from, let's say, Ethereum to another coin that is extremely popular, like VeChain, for example?
Good question. So if there's a specific coin you're looking for, the first thing to try and figure out is what exchange it's being traded on. So the best way to do that is to go to coinmarketcap.com, look up the coin, and then click on exchanges, and it'll tell you all the exchanges that it's currently listed on. Generally speaking, if it's a popular coin, and especially if they already have a working product, so if it's worth over, say, $100 or $200 million, it should be on either Binance or Bittrex. If it's not on one of those two, then just look on CoinMarketCap to figure out what exchange it's on.
Great. So once I find the exchange that the coin is on, so I go on CoinMarketCap, I want to buy VeChain, I find out that it's on Binance, and I want to turn my Ethereum into VeChain specifically. How do I get my money from Coinbase and move it to Binance, the exchange, to make sure I can exchange it from Ethereum to VeChain? How do I get that currency over?
Good question. So the way transactions on a blockchain work is 2 parties have wallets, and you create transactions that moves money from one wallet to another wallet. So the first thing you have to do is, number 1, sign up for an account for either Binance, Bittrex, whatever the exchange is that has the token that you want to trade into. So you log into your account, or you create an account first, and then you log into your account, go to the deposit tab, and then click on deposit on either Bitcoin or Ethereum. Generally, exchanges let you deposit either one of those two and trade against those pairs. So you can trade either Bitcoin into VeChain or Ethereum into VeChain. Different exchanges have different preferences for whether they prefer Bitcoin or Ethereum.
Yep.
So you'd go into your Coinbase account then. So you click deposit in your Bittrex account or your Binance account, and you get your wallet address. That's where you need to deposit Bitcoin into or Ethereum into. Imagine it like you're sending a PayPal transaction to a friend. So you call up your friend and say, hey, what's your PayPal address? So this is you logging into Binance and figuring out what your PayPal address is within Binance's system, except it's a Ethereum address or Bitcoin address. And then you go back into Coinbase where you have your money, and then you type that address into where you want to send it, put in how much you want to send, and you hit send. And then about 2 to 15 minutes later, you should see your money in your account. But 2 to 15 minutes later, if it's on Ethereum, and then up to an hour if it's on Bitcoin, you should see your money in your account.
Yeah, and that all depends on the congestion of the network and how many transactions are happening. So there are different ways, we'll talk about in another episode, to track those transactions to make sure they're valid and pending and going through.
It depends on how many crypto kitties are.
Yeah, how many crypto kitties are being generated and traded. So I got the long, weird looking number and letter wallet address from Binance that I copied, and I went to Coinbase, put it in the address that I'm sending my Ethereum to. So my Ethereum address on Binance, I put that into Coinbase. I send 1 Ethereum to Binance. I hit send. Coinbase sends me an email saying, are you sure you want to do this? I hit yes. And then I wait about 2 to 15 minutes and go back to Binance, and my account balance / wallet balance on Binance should have changed, correct?
Correct. And this is probably a good time to say that if this is your first time doing this, you should use a small amount first to get used to the system and make sure that you're doing everything right, and then send the full amount that you want to send after that.
Great. So I waited 15 minutes. I sent my test amount, that went through. So I set my full amount to Binance. And now I have 1 Ethereum in Binance, and I want to buy my VeChain. What do I do now, Derek?
So you'd click into the exchange section and search for the coin that you want to buy. So in this case, if you're looking for VeChain, you type VeChain and Binance will show you the VeChain pairings it has. So let's say it has, do you know if they trade against Bitcoin or Ethereum for VeChain or both?
I know they definitely do it against Ethereum. I don't know about Bitcoin.
Okay, great. So you would click on Ethereum/VeChain and you'd land on a page specifically for trading between Ethereum and VeChain. And in this case, because you already have Ethereum, you can very quickly start to trade, start to exchange your Ethereum into VeChain. That's what why it's called an exchange.
Got it.
Exchange things.
Got it. So how do I know how much I'm paying for VeChain compared to the Ethereum? Like, so I want to buy VeChain. On the coin market cap, it says it's $6 in USD. Obviously, Ethereum's not USD. So how do I know what I'm actually getting, how many coins I'm going to be getting? Is it automatic where I just say buy and then it takes my Ethereum and gives me as many VeChain coins as I want, as is available to me based off the exchange rate? Is there any way to control this? Like, how do I make sure that I know what I'm getting when I hit buy?
Okay, yes. So the way an exchange works is a little bit more complicated than Coinbase works. So in Coinbase, you just say, I want to buy $100 worth of Ethereum, and you hit buy, and it gives you the Ethereum. In an exchange like Binance or Bittrex, the way it works is it matches up people who want to sell with people who want to buy. So you're not buying from Binance. Instead, you're buying from other people who want to buy or sell. The best way to think about this is imagine you're in a room, or imagine you're in a market. Say you're in Morocco, you're walking down the street and you're in a giant marketplace like in Aladdin. And on the one hand, you have vendors who are saying, hey, we want to sell VeChain, we want to sell VeChain. And on the other hand, you have buyers who say, hey, we want to buy. Now, the buyers might say, we want to buy, but we're only willing to pay, let's say, $5. I'm not sure what the equivalent amount in Ethereum is.
Great.
Let's say we're willing to pay $5. So you've got 1,000 people running around saying, we're willing to pay $5. We're willing to pay $5. And then you have a bunch of people who want to sell, but they're saying that we want to sell, but we're only willing to sell it for $6, right? So there's a mismatch between what the sellers and the buyers are willing to buy or sell at. So we have these 1,000 people running around saying $5, $6, $5, $6. And eventually someone's going to say, you know what? I really want to buy one of these. I'm going to be willing to pay $5.50. So all of a sudden someone's saying $5.50, $5.50, $5.50. I'm willing to pay $5.50. And one of the sellers who was saying $6 might say, hey, you know what? I'm willing to take $5.50. And a deal happens, right? So this buy and sell process where people are inputting what they're willing to pay or inputting what they're willing to sell their tokens at, that's called the bid and the ask. And when you log into Binance, you'll see those bids and those asks laid out next to each other side by side. So the bids are what people are willing to pay. I might be flipping the two.
The bids are what people are willing to pay, and the ask is what people want for their coin.
Right. It's what they're asking for their coin. Yes, that makes sense.
Exactly. Okay, so now I know that the amount of Ethereum I have, one Ethereum, can approximately buy based off the ask price. If the sellers are asking for $6, which is whatever Ethereum, I know I'm going to end up getting approximately 150 VeChain for my one Ethereum, or whatever the conversion rate is. And if I'm willing to meet the ask price, I can buy it right away. Say, I want to buy as many VeChain as I want with my one Ethereum. And then Binance will execute that order based off the sellers and give you the VeChain in exchange for the Ethereum.
Right.
So the Ethereum will go to the seller and the VeChain will come to you. And that will sit in your Binance or other exchange account for as long as you have it there, or until you sell it again, or until you move it to a hardware wallet like we talked about in our security episode. So awesome. So now I have this VeChain. I move it to my hardware wallet. And let's say I want to sell that VeChain back to Ethereum. What's the process like for that, Derek?
If you have it in your hardware wallet, first of all, you'd have...
Or on the exchange.
Okay. Yeah, so it's just the reverse of the process. So instead of picking out one of the asks, you would pick out one of the bids. So to go back to the marketplace example, when you first made your purchase, if you're picking out one of the existing offers, someone's running around saying, hey, I'm willing to sell my VeChain for $6. I'm willing to sell it for $6. And you went and met that person and said, deal, I'm going to take your VeChain for $6. Similarly, if you're taking an existing order that someone has already kind of made an offer for, and you're wanting to sell, and someone has said, I'm willing to buy VeChain for $550, and you say yes, then that order happens right away.
Great. So now I have that VeChain. I sold it back to Ethereum. If I want to turn that back into fiat, I can now take that Ethereum that I sold it to, send it back to a company like Coinbase, and then exchange it to fiat if I want to. So that's basically the in and out roads, how you get from fiat to VeChain and back from VeChain to fiat.
Right, exactly.
Really, really quickly, to get back to the fiat, like if you eventually want to get back to US dollars, let's just say.
Yep.
Is there only a few exchanges that do that?
The same ones that allow you to buy.
Okay. So if you can buy in from US dollars, not just exchange through crypto, if you can buy, you can sell.
Correct. So that's why Coinbase comes back into play, GDAX, eventually maybe, who knows, Robinhood, and other platforms like Gemini.
And it's pretty much free to take money out of crypto and turn it into US dollar. So when you use US dollar to buy crypto, there's credit card fee, Coinbase fee, there's a markup on the crypto. But when you're actually selling your crypto, you can sell it at market price and there's no fee for taking it out. So basically it's free to extract your crypto and turn it into US dollar. It's just very expensive to onboard it into the ecosystem.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we're not tax advisors here, but the only thing that you might have to pay is taxes on your earnings. So something to look into in a future episode and look up yourself based off where you're living. Awesome. So we figured out how to buy and sell the different cryptocurrencies. Just really quick on a reminder front, when it comes to exchanges, as we talked about on the last episode, the security episode, do not keep your currency on the exchanges. Wallets, most hardware wallets will cover a lot of these different coins. So you can store them on the hardware wallet. If they do not, there's probably a software wallet associated with them. And it's not as secure as a hardware wallet, but definitely better than leaving it on the exchanges themselves.
Yep.
So go back to that episode if you haven't listened to it yet. As we talked about, security is extremely important when it comes to these elements. Lieutenant Plu, did you have any other questions about this process overall? Did we cover everything? Are we missing any element that is kind of conjugating in your mind?
Nothing coming to mind right now in terms of buying into, selling, exchanging. I feel as if I've got a way better understanding about the process now.
Perfect.
I'm wondering eventually when I can use Ethereum for beer.
That is a great question. I know there's a couple companies that are integrating cryptocurrency payments. I believe there was rumor that Square eventually was going to do it, and other platforms that already exist for consumers to buy products at local breweries and so on. So that might be happening over the next 2 years, which means you can take your beautiful Ethereum and get drunk off of it. I know that's something we'll be doing eventually on the Crypto Starship. For all our amazing listeners, buying beer with Ethereum and using it in studio. Now, with that said, I want to make sure that all of the exchanges and tools that we talked about on this podcast will be at cryptostarship.ai/resources. So you can go there to find any of this information and platforms that we talked about on the episode. And like I said, please go on YouTube and look up other exchange-based content when it comes to this area, when it comes to security, when it comes to moving cryptocurrency between exchanges. So when you do it the first time, you are taking baby steps to make sure you do it right until you get comfortable.
Yeah, and whatever...
Captain Derek, any other follow-up thoughts?
Yeah, whatever exchange you're using, it's probably a good idea to just go on YouTube and say how to use Binance or how to use Bittrex. And there's going to be visual tutorials you can watch that'll guide you through the actual interface that you're using, which would probably be as brilliant as we are at explaining things. I think actually seeing the interface and having someone walk you through step by step is probably a better way for you to really get to know how to buy and sell.
On the scale of 1 to brilliant, I definitely don't think we're all the way at brilliant, but we might be in the 3 to 4 range.
Okay, I'll take 3 to 4.
Awesome, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is Captain Eric.
Captain Derek.
And Lieutenant Plu.
Have a great day.
The Crypto Starship is a production of Starship Media LLC. The contents of the show, including our videos, podcasts, and our website, are provided for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investing, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any financial, investing, trading, or life decisions based on our show. Understand that investing or trading in digital assets has potential risks involved. Before investing, make sure to do your own